This is Star Radio UK.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you once again for joining me on the Bebe Means Business Show. I'm your host, Bebe Clement. And for those of you who are joining for the very first time, this is the show where you get all the information, knowledge, tips, advice, and everything and anything to do with business and entrepreneurship. On this show, I strongly encourage you to build a financial legacy, not just for your children, but for your children's children, enough so that you can be a blessing to your generation and generations to come. That is what we do on this show. So any kind of advice or tips that will help you in doing so, this is the place to come. Hope you're well, and we have another good show for you today. Also introducing myself for those who are joining for the first time, I run a group of companies alongside my husband. I'm also an author of 2 books that you may find useful in your business journey: How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and Wealth Creation God's Way. Wealth Creation God's Way. Okay, so today I have a bit of bad news. I apologize for the phone ringing. It'll stop in a minute. I have a bit of bad news. The UK economy officially slipped into recession at the tail end of 2023. It officially slipped into recession at the tail end of 2023. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are in recession. Growth has slowed and we are now officially in recession. I'm going to switch that off. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen, but I thought it was going to be interfering. So yes, we're officially, the UK, we are officially in recession. Not good news, because some of us are still trying to recover from the 2008 recession. We haven't recovered from that. I know lots of people who went under, particularly those who had properties and were not managing their properties well and all that kind of thing, who became victims since 2008 and have never recovered. We are in another recession. So I just want you to think about that for a few minutes. Who are those who suffer or who become casualties when we go into recession? Do you think it's the shareholders? Do you think it's directors? Do you think it's those kind of people that have problems when there is a recession? Or do you think it is those who have a single source of income? No marks for guessing correctly on that one. So if you are particularly in that group where you are dependent on a single source of income, then this show is for you and you need to do something about it fast. But irrespective whether you're in that group or you're not, it is important that we all do whatever we can to recession proof our finances. That's really what we need to do. Recession proof our finances. So I thought today I'd just do a light show on practical tips for generating income. Practical tips for generating income. All right. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm not going to be talking about anything earth-shattering, and there will be topics that we've revisited before, but repetition is a good teacher. But some of the things that you could do, one, look at your network. Now, you've heard the phrase that your network is your net worth. You've heard that phrase before. So what does that mean? What does that mean? It means a number of things. One, it means that actually you find it very, very difficult to grow beyond the net worth of those that surround you. Very difficult to grow beyond the net worth of those that surround you. So if you have 7 broke friends, guess who's going to be number 8? Okay. So it's important that you have the right kind of network. The right kind of network will dictate your net worth. The kind of people you hang around, more than probably any other factor, will dictate how you do financially. So this might be a good time for you to assess your associations. Examine the people that you spend most of your time with. Are they doing well financially? Are they doing well financially? If not, what can you do about it? What should you do to upgrade your network? What should you do to upgrade your network? To be honest, you may have to get a new set of friends. Because, like I said, your network determines your net worth. You may really need to get a new set of friends. Depending on what you want for your life, you may need to get a new set of friends. And when you do get a new set of friends who are doing well financially, who are living a purpose-driven life, learn from them. What is it that they're doing? What is it that they have done that has made them financially viable? Learn from them and ask them to show you. But make a decision to be around people who consistently discuss ideas, things like politics, business ideas. Not be around people who are only talking about what they watched on Netflix or Britain's Got Talent or something like that. Learn from people that you can get industry insight from. People who have ideas and are building those ideas and gaining knowledge and starting businesses and have themselves a good quality of network. A good quality network. Learn from those kind of people. Hang around those kind of people. Now, another aspect of networking is to see people as doors. See them as doors. not as walls. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, you could meet me tomorrow and we start talking, and you think I am one person, which of course I am, but you may think that my influence ends with me. So I might not be very impressive as a person. You might look at me and think, well, she doesn't drive a very good car. She doesn't live in a particularly big house. So there's not much to her, and see me as a wall. But you don't know who I know. I may not be anything fantastic, but you don't know who I know. You never know who you're sitting next to or who you're talking to and who they know. I might not be much, but I know for definite that I have at least 5 millionaires on my speed dial that would take my calls if I call them. At least five. At least five. So you never know who the person you're speaking to knows. So see people as a door, not as a wall. Okay? Now, if you have a business, start working your existing network. The people that you already know, go through your contact list and start working your network. You see, because people forget. They forget what you do. So it might be a good time to remind them. Just send them something to say, just thought I'd remind you that, we now do family law in our law firm, that kind of thing. But, work your existing network. And the fact that somebody didn't want your services 6 months ago, their circumstances might have changed, and they may want your circumstances now, or they might know someone that wants your business now. Okay, so their circumstances might have changed. So work your existing network, and then ask them if they can give you the contact details of 3 other people that they think may need your services. So again, start looking at people as doors and not as walls. Ask them to please refer 3 different people to you that might need your services. Now, depending on who that person is, you may need a personal introduction from them. In fact, I would recommend that you get a personal introduction from someone that knows them, rather than just approach them directly. So if you were going to come to me, you might say, hi, Bebe, your husband gave me your contact. Something like that. You might say something like that. Yeah? So you could do that. You could do that. Depending on who that person is, you could also send them a text ahead of time before you call them and say, oh, hi, I'm Bebe Clement. I got your contact details from so-and-so. Is it okay to call you? Or please let me know a good time to call you. I just want to discuss a business opportunity with you. So those kind of things, all right? But work your existing network. And while you're working your existing network, build a greater one. Build a wider one as you go along. Then you need to attend networking events. You must attend networking events. Now, when you get to a networking event, in fact, one of the things that I would strongly recommend that you do is that before you attend a networking event, ask the organizers whether there'll be an opportunity for you to address the room. All right. So it's one thing to go to a networking event and speak to maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people that generally forget you anyway. But it's a completely different thing for you to stand in front of the room and speak clearly, confidently, and convincingly or intelligently about your product and service. If you can do that, you tend to have the room hooked. And 1, it makes you more memorable. 2, people can see what you got. You know what I mean? They can see what you have. 3, they can ask you questions if they need to. And usually, if you're going to address a room at a networking event, I would strongly encourage you to have samples of your product or your service there that they can try there. So if maybe you're an author, have your books there. If you have a particular product, have that product there. Maybe have an exhibition stand at that event. Once you finish your talk, you can say to them, if you come to my stand over there, you can get some more information or you can try out the product. Okay? And the reason why you do it then and there is because when people go home, life gets in the way. That's the truth. Life gets in the way. And they will say, oh, I'll call you, but they don't. But if they're still in the zone, so to speak, they've heard you speak, you've given a killer speech or a talk or a pitch about your product, they're excited, they're interested, you're able to influence them in that moment into buying your product and service. So that's a good strategy to use. Then join online networking groups. Join online networking groups and contribute to those online networking groups intelligently. All right? Contribute intelligently. Now, if you are a professional, then please make sure that you use LinkedIn because that's where most of the professionals are. When you use LinkedIn, make sure that you update stuff on there regularly and contribute. A friend of mine committed last year and this year to ensuring that he writes an article a day. I mean, I think that's a bit, you really got to be committed to do that. I'm not sure I have the space to do that. But the point being that if you're going to be contributing online or networking online, you must be doing it regularly. You can't just post something today and wait another 2 weeks and then post something. No. Social media moves a lot faster than that, So you have to be able to post regularly. And when you post, don't just post anything. Stick to your area of expertise or the area that you want to be known as the go-to person. That's the area you should stick to. So you're not posting about this today, posting about that tomorrow, posting about the other things the day after. Stick within your zone. So if you're talking about small business or business generally, then stick to that. Don't talk about business today and talk about food tomorrow and talk about something else the day after. So that people get to know you for a particular thing. They expect something from you in relation to a particular thing. All right? So that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. So, and when you begin to contribute in a way that makes you look like the go-to person, the expert in your field, And you'll be amazed at how that builds up trust. It builds up trust. So the next time, so let's say I've been speaking about law on LinkedIn. The next time, and I've been giving advice, I've been giving a couple of free tips. Maybe there's a change in the law. I've been giving advice about that change in the law. I've been giving maybe discounts, like, if you contact me, the first 30 minutes consultation will be free, that kind of thing. Maybe there's a debate about something about law online. I've contributed to that. I've given some advice on that kind of thing. The next time somebody wants a lawyer, who are they going to pick? Are they going to go and look for some random person on Google or someone that they have come to know and seen regularly on social media, who sounds intelligent, sounds like they know what they're talking about? Maybe they've even seen or read a testimonial of a client that has come to you and you've assisted, that kind of thing. Who are they going to pick? It's a no-brainer. They're going to pick you. So it's important that you do that. These are the ways in which you make money, basically. You make some money from that. You generate income from that. Now, if you are, again, going to be improving your network, I would encourage you to organize your own networking event. You can make a lot of money from networking events, from hosting networking events. And I have a couple of them coming up. I'm going to speak about them in a minute, but you can see them on your screen. I'm going to be a guest speaker at one of them, and then another one is mine, and I'm going to speak about that in a little while. But organize your own networking event. And some of the ways in which you can generate income from a networking event: one, through entry fees. So you charge a fee, maybe £30, £40, depending on what you're speaking about, or what you're hosting about. You can have exhibition stands. So people hire stands to be able to promote their products and services at your event, at your networking event. You can have your own products and services at that event, and you can promote them. You can have things like goodie bags. So different business owners will pay to put maybe their business card or a sample of their product in a goodie bag that you give to your delegates for free. So you can do that as well. Then some people want to attend so that they can speak at the event, so they can promote the products and services. Then you can charge for that. Yes, you can be the speaker at my event, but there is a fee for that. And you shouldn't be embarrassed about charging for that, because you are going to put them in front of, I don't know, maybe 20 people that they would never have had access to. And they are now going to become memorable to those group of people. Those group of people are probably going to buy their products and services, and you have provided the opportunity. So don't be embarrassed or feel that it's untowards for you to charge for it. No, on the contrary, you're doing them a favor. So by all means, charge for it, and people understand that, and they're willing to pay for it. Then you could seek sponsorship for your event. That will cut your costs to a minimum and increase your profit for that particular event. That's another way in which you can generate income. And you might be saying, well, Bibi, I only, I'm a counselor. I counsel people who are going through a divorce. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. There is nothing no product or service that you are providing that you cannot build a networking event around it. So yes, if let's say you're a counselor and that's what you do, you counsel people who are going through a divorce, have a networking event about that. For people going through a divorce or people who have been through a divorce and want some information about how to move on, or even make it a hookup. Turn your networking event into a hookup so that people who are looking for a spouse or looking to remarry or looking for a relationship can meet other like people at that networking event. So there is no area, there's nothing that you are doing that you cannot build a networking event around it. There is absolutely nothing. So we are in the information age. People want to know, they want to meet other people. So whatever it is that you are doing, build a networking event around that and invite people to come along. Charge a small fee, depending on what it is. If you don't have a name yet, then charge a small fee. As time goes on and you become more known and more popular and you've built trust, and you can charge more, and then do it that way. But you can definitely make quite a bit of money from that. Okay, I'm going to take a short break here, and on return, I'm going to talk a little bit about the networking events that are coming up that you don't want to miss. See you in a moment.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you once again for tuning into the Bebe Means Business Show. And as you know, as always, I'm your host, Bebe Clement. A couple of things that I want to mention. We have two events coming up. The first one is being held by Godly Women of Substance, where I have the honor of, yes, thank you very much, where I have the honor of being the speaker. And I'm going to be speaking about the mind shift for business success, the mind shift for business success. And one of the reasons why I'm going to be talking about that is because we have discovered through research that one of the reasons why we are not doing well in business is because a lot of people who start a business bring in an employee mentality into an entrepreneur environment, and it doesn't work. An employee and an entrepreneur are two completely different breed of animals. And so you must make that mind shift in order to do well in business. And so I'm going to help you do that. How do entrepreneurs think? How do they think? Have you ever wondered how it is possible that someone who has gone bankrupt, maybe someone who was a millionaire and then went bankrupt, within a year or two, they'll be a millionaire again? How is that possible? It's because of the mindset. Once you have an entrepreneur's mindset, it's not that difficult. So that's coming up. Can you put that up on the screen again? Yes. So that's coming up on the 2nd of March, 10 to 3. Please have a look at that. And it's on Eventbrite. You can register on Eventbrite. It's a business meeting. But it's also going to be, it's going to cover lunch as well. It's going to cover the lunch period as well for the actual workshop. So there's going to be lots of work for you to do, but lots for you to gain from, and a great opportunity for you to network. So please come along to that. Another event that I'm going to be hosting in March, and this is in celebration of International Women's Month. I host this every year. It gets bigger and better every year. And I'm going to be hosting that on the 23rd of March, 2024. And this time, I'm going to be in North London. Normally, it's held in South London, but this time, we're coming north of the river because we keep getting demands for it in north of the river. So I'm going to be doing that this time. So please come along on the 23rd of March for a Women in Business Networking Brunch. And this is being sponsored by Jenny Star. Thank you so much to Jenny Star. Huge shout out to you. They're going to sponsor it. And Jenny Star, as you know, is the company who believes in financial education for families, financial freedom for all. So they're going to be sponsoring the event. They're going to be there giving a talk as well. And for those of you who are thinking of going into business, they're going to be presenting a business opportunity for you to consider. But that's on the 23rd of March at Clockwise, 50 Station Road, Wood Green in North London, and the nearest tube station is Wood Green Station. So I look forward to seeing you and hosting you there. I'm going to be there, yours truly, and we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. These networking events are always fantastic, so you're going to have a great time. All right, so back to the topic today. If you're just joining us today, I'm sharing some practical tips on how to generate income. And as I said earlier, the UK is now in recession, so you have got to do something and do something fast to recession-proof your finances. So just before the break, I was speaking about how your network is your net worth and how you can use networking to generate income. So now another thing that you can do to generate income is to charge what you are worth. Charge what you are worth. Now this is really important. Sometimes we don't know what to charge. Yes, especially those of us in my community. We don't know what to charge. And this is for a number of reasons. And because we don't know what to charge, we are literally leaving money on the table. So one of the things that you need to do is take the time to assess the value of what you are bringing to the market. And oftentimes, even we don't know the value of what we are bringing to the market. So the value is not to you. The value is to those who are buying your products and services. Because you might be looking at what you're doing and thinking, oh, well, it's no big deal. It's just a side hustle. I'm just, it's just a little bit of money on the side. But you don't know the value to other people. It might be something phenomenal to somebody else. Now, if once they know the value, they're willing to pay for it. So you have a duty to find out. So if you are just starting out, as part of your market research, and of course, if you're just starting out in the business, you should do market research. Please make sure you do your market research. So as part of your market research, you should find out things like, how much would you be willing to pay for this product? So if you're doing market research, you should have a questionnaire, I guess. That's how I did mine. You have a questionnaire that you send to people who potentially might, buy into your products and services. And one of the questions that should be on that questionnaire is, how much would you be willing to pay for this product? Okay, that should be on there. And then also ask them, why would you be willing to pay that amount? So you might have on it a range. So you could say up to £10, up to £30, up to £100, that kind of thing. And then why would you be willing to pay that amount? So you might, that kind of information, those kind of questions reveals a lot of information about the way your potential customers are thinking. And then you can adapt your product accordingly. So they might say something like, there's already something like this on the market that I use. So then you can find out, okay, what is it that they use? What is already on the market that they use? And find out how you can differentiate your product from their product that can make it more valuable to your clients. And then you can charge accordingly. So let's say there's a particular cream, body cream that is your product. And they say, there's something similar to this on the market. And then you go and check out that product, and you find that product, all that product does is it deals with blemishes. It deals with blemishes. But yours doesn't just deal with blemishes. Yours also gives a fairer tone, let's say something like that. Or yours also deals with blackheads as well, that kind of thing. Or also, your product also works as a cleanser, not just a moisturizer. So you could then sell your product or market your product accordingly and say, whereas the competition's product only serves as a moisturizer, yours is a cleanser plus a moisturizer plus it gives you a fairer tone, that kind of thing. And because your product has all these other benefits to it, you can charge more than your competition. And let me just say, I know I've mentioned this before, but let me emphasize this, that you do not have to compete on price with your competition. What do I mean by that? I mean that when you are competing with people, some people think that, the way in which I can have an advantage, a competitive advantage over my competitor, is to make my product more affordable than theirs. And that's not necessarily a good strategy. If your product is doing something more than their product is doing, if your product is doing something better than their product is doing, if your product is doing something different from what their product is doing, then there's no reason why you should be charging less than they are. People, and again, it goes back to value. If people understand the value of what you're bringing, they're more likely willing to pay more for it. They're willing to pay more for it. So don't feel compelled to undercharge and leave money on the table just because your competitors are charging a certain amount. Okay, now in the same vein, for instance, when I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to do a corporate talk, I'm going to do a talk for a corporate organization, I now have a series of questions that I might ask clients. And the reason why I'm doing that is to tease out why they're buying my product and how much I can charge. Now, here's a tip. There is nothing that says that you must charge 2 clients the same amount. Nothing. There's nothing that says that. You don't have to charge 2 clients the same amount. If one client can pay more, or one client understands the value of your product better, then there's no reason why you have to charge them the same amount. I don't have any problems doing that. So one of the things that I might ask them is, have you done this before? So let's say they say, Bebe, we want you to come and do a talk on employee engagement. Maybe since COVID, some of our employees are doing hybrid working, and we find that they seem to be disengaged from the workplace. We're not seeing that gelling of our staff that we had prior to COVID, which actually is a common problem, and I'm often getting asked to come and speak about. So let's say I'm going to speak about that. One of the questions I might ask them is, have you had anybody speak on this topic before? And they might say yes. So I could say, well, how much did you charge? How much did you pay to have them come along? And I'm often surprised that the fee that they will quote is more than I was going to charge them. So that's one way in which I would have lost some income. So then I might ask something like, do you have a budget for this? And again, that might inform me as to how much to charge them. So if they say something like, well, our budget is 10,000, then I know how to charge them. Rather than me say something like, okay, just pay me 1,000. When later I discover that actually they had a budget of 10,000 for this, but you shot yourself in the foot if I've said to them, just pay me 1,000 or something like that. So it's always good to ask those kinds of questions. And then, okay, why are you hiring me? I'm obviously not the only person that can deliver employee engagement. What is it? And that's the way in which you discover what your USP is. What is it that I am offering that somebody else in my space who offers, talks or, in this space would not be offering? And you'll be amazed what you might find. So they might say something like, oh, well, we've never had a female speaker. And, some of our staff were complaining that they've never had a female speaker. So that puts you at an advantage. So that, again, gives you more leeway to negotiate a higher fee, because they want you for a specific reason. So it's not just that they want a speaker, they want a specific type of speaker. Some might say, well, we've never actually had a black speaker, and we want to do that. Many of our staff are black, and we want to have someone that represents our staff. So again, that gives you some negotiating power. Okay, you want a black female speaker, then you pay for that advantage, that kind of thing. Or it might be, I might ask them something like, why do you want to do this now? Why are you hiring me now? Because time is a really important thing. So why are you doing this now? And then you might discover something. You might discover that perhaps, okay, they have a deadline for something, or maybe they're in trouble and they need to sort something out real quick that you can help them with. Now, if you are going to assist them in such a way that you are going to be available to them, day and night, or, outside normal working hours to ensure that they meet that deadline, then you should charge accordingly. I'm not going to charge the same fee that I would charge if I'm going to have to be available to you after office hours, like 8 o'clock at night, if we're going to be having meetings 8, 9 o'clock at night. And that does happen. There was something I was doing late last year that I was having meetings with management at 11 o'clock at night. But of course, I was charging accordingly. I wasn't charging my normal fee. I was charging accordingly. If you want me at 11 o'clock at night, yeah, that's fine. I'll be available, but I'll be available for a fee. So those are the kind of things that you need to be asking that can increase your income. It can increase the amount of money that you can charge. Another reason why we don't often charge what we're worth is because we have problems in our relationship with money. And you've heard me speak about this many times on this show, that everybody has a money story. And that money story is rooted in oftentimes our childhood relationship, growing up with money, how our families, our parents related with money, and what kind of exposure we had with money growing up. And it tends to solidify and cement itself in our adult life. So for instance, I gave an example, my own personal example of growing up in a family where money was very tight, very scarce. And as a result, I kind of had this mantra, this mental mantra in my mind that said, anything is better than nothing. Anything is better than nothing. And so I grew up with a management mentality, and I discovered that I took that management mentality into my business and my business relations. So that initially when I started my business, I was very, very badly undercharging greatly. And so I was not generating the type of income that I should have been generating. And it wasn't until one of my friends challenged me about my fees and asked me to triple my fees that I began to see that actually the value of what I'm bringing is doing a lot of good to those who are hiring me. And so I shouldn't be embarrassed about charging accordingly. But I did struggle to make that mental shift. And I speak about that in one of my books, How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur. And so again, if you don't have a healthy relationship with money and you don't understand the value of what you are bringing, this will definitely affect how you charge, and you will not generate the kind of income that you can generate when you're in business. So it's important that you understand, first of all, that you have to charge what you are worth. And then you have to, in order to do that, you must find out, what am I worth? Not to you, because you may not know the value of what you're bringing. What am I worth? What is this worth to the client? What is what I'm bringing worth to the client? And you'll be amazed that what it is worth to the client is not necessarily something to do with money. It might not be to do with money. It might be an emotional thing. I've told the story of a lady who was going through severe financial problems. She was quite someone high in society. Somebody, quite high in society. But she'd gone through a divorce, and this had cost her a lot of money, and the husband had disappeared with a lot of the money, and so she was having some adjustments, having to make some financial adjustments, and she wasn't doing well financially. And somebody went to see her, and she was crying, and she said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Well, my children have just been sent home." Her children were in private school. My children have just been sent home from private school with a note saying that if I don't bump up the fees quickly, that they are going to, ask me to remove my children from school. And I really don't know what to do, that kind of thing. So she was very upset, and her friend was comforting her and everything like that, and saying, "Listen, things will get better. Don't worry. Let's go out. You seem like you need a day out. Let's go out. Let's go visit another friend." So they went to visit another friend. And while they were at this friend's house, a group of other women, who they were all friends, came along, and they were all chatting and everything. And one of them brought out gold jewelry that she was selling. She brought a whole pile of gold jewelry that she was selling. So everybody was buying, and including this woman who had previously been crying that she didn't have enough money for school fees for her children. And she began to buy. So when she and her friend got home, her friend said, I don't understand it. You were crying before you left home, saying that you didn't have enough money for your children's school fees, and yet you bought all this gold. And she said, well, I wasn't going to let all these other women know that I was going through financial problems. I didn't want to look like some cheap woman in front of all these women. So I bought some. So you can see that the worth, the value to her was her self-esteem. the value of that gold to her was not necessarily the gold itself. It was her self-esteem and the way she looked in front of her friends. So you need to find out, what is the value of my product and service to those who are buying. You might be surprised. You might be surprised. All right, we're going to take another quick break here. And when we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you can generate income. But just to say that this is a live show. So if you want to tune in, if you want to ask me any questions, if you have any suggestions, if you want any pass any comments, please feel free to do that. So you can call in on 07539 661 744. That's 07539 661 744. Or you can contact us on our Twitter handle, which is Star Radio UK. Or you can text on WhatsApp on the same number that I've just given you. And if you're joining us through Facebook, then please just put your comments in the chat and I'll read them when we come back. See you in a moment.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of today's show. And today's show, we're talking about practical tips for generating income. Practical tips for generating income so that you can recession-proof your finances, recession-proof your business, because these are challenging times and it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon. So it's important that you do something that ensures that you don't become a casualty of the times that we're in. Just before I go on, I just want to again mention the two events that are coming up that I'm looking forward to seeing you there. The first one is being hosted by Godly Women of Substance on the 2nd of March, of which I will be speaking, a guest speaker, and I would encourage you to come along to that. It will be a very, very good event, and I'll be talking about the mind shift for business success, the mind shift that you have to have for business success. You cannot carry an employee mentality into business. It does not work. You need to find out, how do entrepreneurs think? It is how they think that motivates. It is how they think that produces the actions that may differ from what you are doing and may make all the difference between success and failure in business. So come along to that. I'm also going to be having my annual Women in Business Networking Brunch. Usually it's a breakfast, but this time we thought we'd have a brunch. We're going to shake it up this year. So come along to that. People have already started registering. I strongly encourage you to come along on the 23rd of March. And we're going north of the river this time. Usually we hold it in South London, but we're having it north of the river this time in Wood Green. And this event is being sponsored by Jenny Star. Jenny Star, as you know, is a financial education company. They have a strong ethos and a strong desire to see families financially free. Their strapline is financial freedom for all. So I want to thank Jenny Star for sponsoring this event. It looks to be an excellent event as always. The feedback is always amazing. I'm so proud to be hosting it. I look forward to seeing you there. All right. Okay. So back to today's show. And just before we end, we're talking about practical tips for generating income during these difficult times. So one of the things that you can do is keep your overhead low so that you can keep your profit high. Keep your overhead low so that you can keep your profit high. So what do I mean by that? Walk through your business and see where you can make savings. Walk through every aspect of your business and see where you can make savings. So if you have an office, I mean, the overhead for an office is unbelievable. Believe me, I have one. So if you have an office, do you really need one? Or can you do what you do from home? Can you do it from home? Or can you hire an office in somebody else's office? So one of the things that we do is we hire out one of a couple of the rooms in our office to other companies who don't want the hassle of the overhead of an office. They don't have to be there all the time, so they come in as and when, that kind of thing. So you might want to do that. Do you really need the number of staff that you have? Or are there certain things that you could do that you could outsource? Can you outsource them? Outsourcing I just think it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do, to outsource. And you can outsource overseas. They don't have to be based in the UK. The way in which things are happening now, they can be anywhere in the world. A large majority of my team are not in the UK. The guy that does my website, that handles my website, is in South Africa. Some of my team is in Nigeria. Some of my team is in Spain. So, and wages in these countries are a lot cheaper than here. So you might want to have a look at things like that. And if you need some recommendations, then please get in touch. But there's some people that I can recommend to you that I use that would be good for you. So you need to have a look at every aspect of your business. Do you really need to buy certain things in bulk? Or can you just buy them as and when for your business? What areas can you cut down on? So maybe you have a budget for, I don't know, for attending 5 networking events a month. Do you really need to attend 5 networking events a month? Why don't you cut that down to 3? This kind of thing. But what you need to do is just walk through every aspect of your business and see what you can cut down on. All right. Then deal with personal debt. Now, this is a big one. And the reason why I mentioned this is because if you are trying to increase your income, but you are in debt and you're not dealing with it, you're like someone who is pouring water into a bucket that has a hole. It's counterproductive. It's just counterproductive. Now, anybody can get into debt. There's no shame to that game. Anybody can get into debt. But the important thing is that you don't bury your head in the sand. And that's what we tend to do. We tend to try to ignore it. Fear and anxiety comes in, and, we bury our head in the sand. And before you know it, a debt of 500 has snowballed into 5,000, and the whole thing now becomes overwhelming, and your credit score is in the toilet and all that kind of thing. And you don't want that to happen. So when those red letters start coming, don't ignore them. Pluck up the courage to open them and deal with it. Get help. There are organizations online that can help you with debt. They can help you begin to negotiate with your creditors. Sometimes it's just having that conversation that we're afraid of. So don't do that. Don't do that. Christians Against Poverty and organizations like that can help you. They can talk you through what you need to do, and of course give you advice as to getting into better spending habits so that you don't find yourself there again. But don't be embarrassed and don't be ashamed. Anybody can get into debt, but please deal with it, because no matter the income, if you're generating income over here and it's hemorrhaging over there, then what is the point? What is the point? So ensure that you do that. Okay. Diversify your income. Of course, you know that this is something that I talk about a lot. Diversify your income. So if you are an employee and you are dependent on a single source of income, i.e. your salary, you are on dangerous ground. I mean, I can't sugarcoat it for you. You are on dangerous ground. You need to begin to develop different income streams. Now, I understand and I accept that not everybody can be an entrepreneur. I get that. But everybody can develop different income streams. There's so many things that you can do, and you don't have to leave your job. So many things that you can do. You can buy shares. You can buy bonds. You can, if you're into crypto, you can go into crypto. There's forex trading. There is property. There is land. You can invest in other people's property, other people's business. So if you don't want to run a business yourself, there could be other people who you know are running a business that you can lend money to their business or buy shares in their company or that kind of thing. There's so many things that you can do that you don't have to leave your job. But ladies and gentlemen, please don't be dependent on a salary, because as I said, in recession, the first people to go or the first people to become a casualty are employees. So you can't afford to do that. So diversify your income. Besides, if one area collapses, so let's say the share market collapses, well, then you have money in the property market. If the property market collapses, then you have your own businesses, that kind of thing. But you must diversify. The average millionaire has about 7 different sources of income at any given time. So there's no way you and I can survive on just one. It's important that you do that. Okay, I think the last thing I'm going to speak about is collaborating. If you want to increase your income and you want to increase it fast, then you must learn to collaborate. Join forces with somebody else who is doing something that can enhance your business, and you can enhance theirs as well. So speaking on somebody else's stage is a collaboration. It's a collaboration because you now have access to all their people. Their people can now see you, and you obviously will get paid by them, that kind of thing. Holding a networking group and having somebody else come and speak on your platform, or having an exhibition stand at your platform, is a collaboration. So make sure that you do that. Is there something, can you have a joint event with somebody? So let's say somebody wants to have a networking event around accountancy. Let's say their clients, he's an accountant and their clients are small business owners. And you are a lawyer who does commercial law and you're dedicated to small businesses. Why not hold a joint event? The cost of the event will be lower and the profit will be higher, and you can share it. We need to get away from me, myself, and I. You got to get away from that. That doesn't work in business. It doesn't work in business. You've got to get away from that. Look for who you can collaborate with. It might be that you have a flyer. Let's say there's a flyer and it's going to cost you £300 to print that flyer. And you need one side of the flyer. Look for somebody else who also needs a flyer, and let them use the back and split the cost. Again, that will generate income for you because your cost has been lowered. We've got to start thinking outside the box, ladies and gentlemen, as to how we can generate income. And I hope that some of the things that I have discussed today will help you do just that. Okay, the last thing I want to speak about, the very last thing I want to speak about is overcoming embeddedness. And I've spoken about this before. Now, embeddedness is where you are dependent upon your own people group for patronage of your product or service. Okay? You don't go outside that people group. Listen, you got to move away from that. Move away from that. You've got to make your product appeal to a wider group of people. So I was watching a video that somebody sent me the other day, and I was so impressed with this. There's a company, I'm not sure what the company is called, but they fry puff puff. And for those of you who don't know what puff puff is, it's a Nigerian kind of like donut. Yeah, so it's a small donut thing that we eat in Nigeria. And so they were invited by Google to come and host a puff puff evening at Google in London. So they went along. And the traditional puff puff is fried in such a way that it's very heavy, and it has quite a bit of sugar in it. All right, but they adapted it to the audience. So they had different flavors. They had chocolate coated puff puff. They had sprinkles on the puff puff. And all kinds of things. And they were giving classes, showing people how to make it from scratch. From beginning to end. They had different flavors that people could try and stuff like that. It was so innovative. It was done so well. And if you're listening to me, guys, well done. I was really impressed with that. But that is what I mean by overcoming embeddedness. They had taken a Nigerian product and they had presented it in such a way that made it appealing to the Caucasians, the Asians. There were a whole repertoire of people there from different backgrounds who now know what puff puff is, who would never have known what puff puff is. And because they made it appealing to different people, it was innovative, it was interesting, it was exciting, it was better than the norm. So whatever your product or your service is, start thinking, how can I make this product or service more appealing to people outside of my people group? Otherwise, you're going to be very, very limited in who you appeal to. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed it, and those few tips I've given you some ideas as to how you can generate income. Once again, just want to remind you about the 2 events coming up that I don't want you to miss. It's Ladies Month coming up. It's Women's Month, International Women's Month in March. 2 events that you don't want to miss. Women in Business Networking Brunch that I am hosting on the 23rd of March, 2024. It's only £30. Get in there before early bird ends. Early bird ends on the March 1st, so get in there. We're going to be in Wood Green, clockwise in Wood Green, and this event again is sponsored by Jenny Star. Then there's another event on the 2nd of March being hosted by Godly Women of Substance, and there is the CEO of Godly Women of Substance, Lori, and she is going to be hosting this event. I'm going to be speaking on the mindset for business success. The mindset for business success. So please come along to that. There'll be lots of opportunities for you to network, to meet like-minded women. And you never know who's going to be there. You never know who's going to be there. So make sure you come along. If you need some information about that, all the details are on Eventbrite for both events. And I look forward to seeing you. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. And as I always say, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, it's your signature on life.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life. Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur.